During the holidays, most of us end up at more dinners than Congress does ethics hearings. Our pants get tighter than Mariah Carey's Christmas schedule.
It's time!
And your face is gonna hurt from smiling and saying things like, damn, that's crazy, while your brother-in-law explains every single parlay that he has on DraftKings. But the worst part is that every single one of them have the same dry-ass turkey that looks like it was carved with a drywall knife. You know the one. But not this year. This year, we're gonna do things a little different. We're making turkey porchetta. Hey there, I'm Joe. This is Fork and Embers, the YouTube channel where we cook with fire and we cope with family trauma, one video at a time. When I was a kid, we would show up to someone's house the night before Thanksgiving. The turkey would already be in the oven. The adults would be cracking open some Budweiser, and they'd be chain smoking Camels and Marlboros like they were in a pool hall. And they'd be playing Yahtzee like it was the World Series poker tournament. The whole fucking house would smell like cigarettes and kerosene because nobody cared to get their central heating fixed. They smoked so many damn Marlboros that by the time Christmas got here, all of us cousins would have one of those Marlboro jackets that you'd get from collecting cigarette packs and sending them in. And by the time the dinner rolled around the next day, the turkey had the texture of drywall. And my siblings and I would come down with something called turkey fatigue. I mean, we'd be begging for anything that we didn't have to eat with a glass of water. The thing is, those were some really good times. They were chaotic, but good times. You know, the kind of chaos that you can't really appreciate until you get older. One thing I don't miss is that dry fucking turkey. So this year I want to do something a little different. I want to make porchetta using a turkey. And we're going to make it on the Weber Smokey Mountain. But honestly, you can make this thing in anything that gets hot. It won't explode on you. And besides, there's 10,000 fucking turkey recipes out there. Do something different. Let me show you how we take turkey to a whole nother level. Recipes on my Patreon. Let's roll. Now, porchetta dates back about 2,000 years to ancient Rome, where they would roast wild hogs over fire and put things like herbs, garlic, and fennel, inside of it, and then roast it. So we're gonna be going with a very traditional seasoning. The most important ingredient in porchetta seasoning is your fennel pollen. What the fuck is all that noise? It's loud. Fridays are not good days to film. So fennel is the most important piece of the seasoning. Now, fennel pollen is about 10 times stronger and more aromatic than your fennel seed. And the reason they would use this is because it would mask that strong odor of like your wild boar. The drawback is it's about 10 times more expensive. Fennel pollen is so expensive because they're harvesting it by hand. I have a link in the recipe where you can go get this. If you don't want to get it, you can use fennel seed, just grind it up really fine, and you can use that. I don't really measure out a lot of this stuff when I'm developing the recipes. I do. So in the recipe, you'll have measurements. But I'm gonna do about, let's say 2 ounces, because I'm gonna actually do 2 turkey porchetta, and that comes out to about 10 to 12 tablespoons, 8, 9, 10, and you can always use more, like more is better. Next, we're going to do another very traditional ingredient, and that is rosemary. Fennel and rosemary are 2 of the oldest ingredients recorded to be in porchetta. Rosemary was actually considered medicinal, so any fatty, rich meats, they would include this to help aid in digestion. What I'm trying to do here is add about 2 to 4 tablespoons of rosemary. I'm going to chop this up roughly. I don't want it extremely fine. If you don't want to use fresh rosemary, you can use dry. Off the top of my head, I don't know the conversions for fresh to dry, but I'll put it in my recipe for you. Play around with it. Some people like more rosemary. Some people like other herbs in it. I've done it with sage. Be careful if you're adding sage. I think that it makes it very bitter. As long as you have fennel and rosemary in it, you can't really go wrong with this paste or this seasoning. All right, look at that. Think it looks good? Take that, toss it in there with the fennel. Good thing about cooking in your garage, boom. And I just leaf blow it out. Next, we're gonna add some garlic. It's not really Italian without some garlic. You can add as much or as little of this as you want. You can mince this with your hand if you want, with your knife, but I'm just gonna use this little smasher here. Well, shoot. Okay, next up, it's kind of your basics. And that's gonna be your salt and pepper. This seasoning is very simple. Like I said, I'll have the ratios and all that in the recipe for you. But I ain't trying to measure everything out. I just like to kind of go with the flow. We'll add some pepper. And then you can get a spoon, mix that all up. I like using a spoon too because you can take the back of it. And where you add that moisture from the garlic, just kind of smash that down. And next is gonna be the probably most stressful part of the whole fucking process. Okay, so this next part is probably the most challenging. It's not that bad, honestly, though. But it is the reason that most people don't usually make porchetta, at least turkey porchetta. So what we need to do is actually remove the skin, and then we're gonna debone it, take the breast out. Now, we're not using a whole turkey. We're using the turkey breast. Now, if you go to Walmart, Kroger, you can find these things every fucking where. They're called turkey breast roast, I believe. And what it is it's the two breasts connected with the backbone. So you need to find the membrane. There is a membrane right about attached to the skin right here. And we're gonna try to remove as much as we can of it. We don't want to rip it, because we need to wrap this thing in the skin. This technique of making a turkey porchetta kind of took off in the 2010 era. You had chefs like Thomas Keller wanting like a good alternative to like making a whole pig. You know, that's not exactly something you can do in a restaurant. The idea of doing that is very similar to like a chicken roulade or something. So most of this can be achieved with just your hands, but you are gonna have to have a knife to do some of the pieces. So for example, you see right here where this is connected, cut further down than you need to because we wanna save as much skin as possible because we need to roll it up in it, right? So, all right. So now you can start just pulling it back. And this will take some work. Just be patient. If you get stuff like this to where you just can't pull it, get your knife, give it some encouragement. Just one little slit should get it mostly to start coming off. Now, when you get to the seam here, where the two breast pieces meet, that's where it gets a little more difficult, just because there's a lot of connection, or a lot of connective tissue there. But a trick is if you can get under that membrane, you should be able to pull most of it off. If you're trying to go above the membrane and leave it on the turkey, you're gonna have a hell of a time. So right here where the neck and shoulders are, you know, we're not, obviously not going way back here. So you need to decide where you want to cut this. Like for example here, we want to go, like I said, go back as far as you can, give yourself more skin than you need. And if you have some skin left on the bird, which you will, you have the back, the neck and all that, you can actually use that to cover up any spots that you need, you know, where the skin maybe isn't the best on the breast. Okay, so now it's all off the neck, which is the most difficult. The breast gives you a little bit of trouble, but nothing like that neck and shoulder. You know what, we got it off. What you should have is just a big fucking thing of skin. There's a hole right there, it ain't that big a deal. Maybe I'll need to do something, maybe I won't, I don't know. But I'm probably gonna set this aside because I need a bowl here to throw all of my discards in. Next part, most of us are used to doing this with chicken. We're just going to carve the turkey breast off of the carcass. It's easiest if you get you a bowl to set to the side, you need a discard bowl. All right, so you have the sternum here. When I'm taking breast off, just like to go down to the side of that. See right there. So just start in the center and you can kind of work your way over. What I like to do is leave my knife against the bone. You won't really need to do a whole lot of butchering here. Take that there, just come up from the side, and that should be about all she wrote. Remove that. You know, this ain't got to be the cleanest butchery job you've ever done. So next thing we want to do is you're going to take this breast here and you want to find this loin or tenderloin or tender, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you want to remove it really. Pulls right off. I like to dice that up, make protein bowls, sear it in a skillet, whatever. For now, I'm just going to set this turkey breast to the side. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. Don't cut your finger off. We're gonna trim this breast up a little bit to kind of get it to fit into that roll anyway. So Again, take the tender. Now take your breast, set it aside, and we will skip to the next step. But yeah, don't throw this away. You can throw this in the oven, roast it. You can make some good stock out of it. And you don't want to throw it away prematurely because you may need some of that back skin. Now, get your meat tenderizer out. Because what we want to do is we want to give these turkey breasts a uniform shape. And what I've done, I've laid some plastic here. I want to try to keep it as clean as possible. Damn, I'm gonna have to change my gloves because I wasn't thinking. All right, get you some plastic wrap. I just do this because I don't want to make a mess out here in the garage. Set that over it. Get some more gloves. Now the reason we need to flatten this out and give it a uniform shape across is because when we roll it up into that porchetta roll, we need it to be even. If you got one big piece there, which is usually like the thickest part of the breast, if you tried to roll it up, you're gonna have a hell of a time. And go to town on it. Just take your hand, feel for any high spots. Things in good shape. Take this, toss it to the side, and let's do the same thing to this one. I might just try to fold this over. Yeah, because really all I'm caring about is that it ain't splattering everywhere when I hit it. I like it pretty good. Not really any high spots. Set it to the side. I'm gonna have to do a good deep cleaning here in a second. What I like to do, take this piece here, trim it up a little. There's a lot of shit going on here. So like this stuff here ain't gonna fold well. Usually there's a little corner, like, I don't nipple kind of. It's like the bottom of the breast. I cut that off. And now what you end up with is a nice uniform shape. And I'll do the same thing to the other one. But first, I wanna do this here. I wanna cut some slashes into it. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow for the seasoning to get down into the meat. But don't do too much. You want some breast there that can actually be handled, you know, otherwise it just turns into mush. We'll do the same thing here. Anything that's going to be a problem when we go to roll it, just remove it. That nipple here, remove that. You know, save it and cook it with that tender that you removed. You don't gotta go too deep. We don't really want to cut through it. Now I'm gonna do a cleaning here real quick. Clean everything up, sanitize it, and then I'll show you the next step. But we're getting somewhere. Get your skin that you removed. And what we're looking for is you want a clean side, you know, a side that's relatively straight. There's no right or wrong. The wrong way is if you don't get this turkey in here. The right way is if you do. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this side. Find the best looking side and set it away from you. So take one of your breasts and we're gonna hang it on the side here. So we want a little bit of overhang. Get the other one. We have what looks like a monstrosity, but what you need to do now, take you some olive oil and just a light coating. Don't make a mess. If you have too much, you're gonna end up having a little bit harder time trying to roll it. Now what we need to do, just take half of this seasoning because the other half, like I said, I'm making 2 of these, so start tossing it on there. Like I said, use a lot. You can't go wrong with this stuff. It's amazing. The aromatics that you get from the cook is just absolutely insane. So what I like to do is kind of work it down into those grooves. And honestly, even lift this up, toss a little bit in there. Make sure you do a uniformed amount. You know, don't just pile it all in the center. Put some on the edges too. I think that leaves me enough for another one. Now the fun part, and that's rolling it. All right, so grab the skin that's under here. Fold this piece over first like that, and then start grabbing the skin. Make sure as you roll it that this front piece doesn't scoot up on you, because it will. And as you pull it towards you, that skin should suction to the cutting board, allowing you to kind of just create a really tight roll. And you put the seam side on the bottom. Now look at that. That's a beauty. Now next we need to truss it, and we're going to use a continuous butcher's knot for that. You know, something interesting is that the porchetta is one of the very first dishes to actually ever use a trussing technique. So it really does kind of predate your French culinary schools, you know. Let me tuck in the skin on the edges as best I can. If you have a drywall knife or bench scraper, do that. Let's just turn the, get about here, ladybug. Let's just get a, this angle here should be perfect. What you want to do is just grab one end of your twine, get some butcher's twine. You can always use this shit. I just leave it uncut. You don't know how much you're going to need with a continuous butcher's knot. Take it like so. Go under the first end, which is the end away from you. And then what we're going to do is something called a surgeon's knot. It's about 2 to 3 simple knots like that, or tie it tight. Leave you plenty of hair because that's going to go over when we come back through and tie. So we want to do one more of those just to tie it off. Okay. Like I said, make sure you leave some there. So the next step is to pull the string out like that. Put your left hand just like this here. Go over it, turn it, and then that's going to give you a loop that you can then take under and tie your next knot. I try to get it as straight as possible. I like it to look good. And do it where it's a little tight, because what will happen when you cook it, kind of expands, but as it rests, it contracts, and that truss will look pretty sad at the end of it if you don't. So just keep doing that. You get pretty good at it. And you'll just do that the whole way down. Try to keep it straight. Looking pretty good. And you can use this technique for like your roast or anything that needs to stay in a shape of a log. Now, let's flip it over. This is where we'll see how our seam did. The seam's not too important because it's going to cook facing down anyways. But this is where you would throw in that extra skin if you want it. Like, you could cover that up if you want it. It's really not that big a deal. But at this point, this is where I'll cut off my string, because now I need to go through the loop like that, pull it out and pull it down. We've squeezed it in, now we want to compress it lengthwise, so we're kind of going, you know, north and south here now. You see like this extra skin here? You want to take that and fold it up like that, because we're going to tie it. Just like we did the rest of them, just do a surgeon's knot. See that there? Then we'll do one more for good measure. Boom. Cut it off. And now you've got a turkey porchetta. Look at that. Look at that. Now it looks like a fucking caterpillar right now, but as it cooks, I promise you, it'll constrict and it'll kind of draw in when after it's rested. This is going to help it cook more evenly too. So do not skip the truss method. I don't know that you could do this without a truss method. All right, next step before we can cook this thing, pick it up, put it on a drying rack. And we're going to set that in the refrigerator for, I don't know, at least a few hours. Ideally, you know, 24 hours. Now there's a couple reasons that this has to happen. One, skin's gonna get more crackly. We're cooking at a pretty high temperature, so it's gonna get crispy either way, but most importantly, the reason we wanna do this is because it allows those proteins to kind of bind and create like a consistent piece of meat. We don't want it to be kind of loose and falling apart when we go to put it on the grill or smoker. What I like to finish it with is just a little bit of this seasoning. Toss a little on top, we don't want a lot. And we'll toss this in the refrigerator overnight, and then we'll come back and we'll cook it.
I don't feel so hot today.
Okay, so this is what it should look like after about 24 hours. You'll see the skin's gotten a lot more kind of tight, but this is what it should look like before you throw it on the grill, smoker, oven, whatever. And I'm gonna show you how we do that right now. So let's go. All right, so to use the Weber Smokey Mountain to make this, it's very simple, very straightforward. What I do is I take a chimney full of charcoal and I light it. I take another chimney full of charcoal that's unlit and I throw it in the bottom of the smoker. I then grab my wood and I cut it into pieces. I'm using cherry and a little bit of oak. Traditionally, they would have used strawberry wood, but that's not so easy to come by around here, and I didn't feel like ordering it. I have a ton of cherry and a ton of oak. Use what you got. So cut that up, toss it on the fire. Go ahead and put your cooking chamber on and then your lid on, and to open the vents up all the way. We want a really nice flow of oxygen. Now, I'm gonna allow my smoker to continue to burn until it's clean smoke. I don't want no white smoke coming out because you're gonna get some really nasty color on this bird. Any poultry with a really heavy smoke doesn't look so good, don't taste so good. Give it some time, don't be in such a fucking hurry. Once your temperature is around 350 to 400 and you got a clean burn, go ahead, take your porchetta, throw it on the smoker. What we want to do here is cook it until the internal temperature reaches about 160. At 160, you're good to take it off and let it rest. Easy peasy.
That bumble's hungry!
All right, that only took a couple hours. Ended up making a couple of them. You could probably throw 3 or 4 on the Weber Smokey Mountain. I have the 22 inch, so I know I can. This thing turned out beautiful. I mean, every time I've ever made it, it's been gorgeous, and it's always been a hit. Yeah, put the shrubbery away. I had to do that for my thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? Content creator problems. So I've already sliced it up, everything, but this is what it'll look like right here. I mean, it's gorgeous. It smells very fragrant. I'll tell you what, that fennel, the best way to explain what it smells like is if you've ever had Italian sausage, they put fennel seed in it. So I made a, they call this a salsa verde, but I ain't 100% sure what it is. It's just like an Italian dressing. It's got some parsley in it, lemon. It's got some capers that I crush in it. It's got garlic, chili flakes, red chili flakes. Add a little bit of spice. The shit's delicious. I'll have the recipe along with the rest of this in my Patreon. I'm not gonna waste too much more time. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I've had this, so I know it's delicious. Oh my God, guys, that's crazy. Every time I eat it, it gets better and better. I strongly urge you to make this because it's gonna change your thoughts on turkey. I know this time of year, everybody's like, I'm fucking sick of turkey. I get it. If you make it like this, it's gonna be delicious. Now look, like I said, you can serve this as a showstopper, but the way that Italians eat this is they let it cool and then they slice it thinly, put it on some crusty bread. I've got some ciabatta bread here. So this is actually like a street food in Italy. It's not really a fancy food. I mean, turkey porchetta is not a thing in Italy, but take some of that salsa, put it on the bottom so it soaks into that bread. Then I ain't got no super thin slices here, but let's throw a couple pieces on there like that. And there we go. That right there. Let's give this a shot. Holy fuck. I don't know what else you can say. I'm gonna take this off actually. All right, come tell these people I'm not lying.
He's not lying.
What are you gonna try? She's not making a cameo every video. Try it.
I had to have to fix myself up, but I want the sandwich first.
We have a scale system, 1 through 5. 5, nothing gets changed. 4, it's phenomenal. Maybe one thing gets changed. 3, couple things get changed. 2, throw that bitch out. Ain't worth fucking with. Well, tell them. I was lying.
I don't have words because I'm too busy eating this right now. It's so good. This is my favorite sandwich, and we make a lot of sandwiches. Make a pretty one.
At this point, they're just watching you. It's like mukbang now. Cut. I've made this in the oven multiple times. You can make it on Weber Smokey Mountain. You can make it on the Weber kettle. God forbid you even make it on a pellet grill. Oh, hold on. Fuck. I'm out.